They lined us up in a single row. A striking young girl walked slowly in front, scanning us all. "I want that one, and that small one as my personal messenger," she declared. I was the third she chose. Relief washed over me. This meant a warm meal and a bed for the night. At 10 years old, after 3 days without food, that was everything. Take the chosen ones, clean them up, and put them to work. The messenger gets my special clothes made just for him. The rest wear the regular garments. She left, followed by 3 adult ladies in waiting. A sharply dressed man motioned for the 3 of us to follow. I figured the others would be cast back out to beg on the streets, or at best fed briefly and given a few coins. It might sound harsh, but I was glad not to be one of them. 2 years of begging had worn me thin enough to look 8 when I was 10. I was too small and weak to earn anything meaningful. We passed the kitchens and entered what looked like a bathing room. "Strip off your filthy clothes," the tall man ordered. "You'll get new clothes for the apprenticeships you'll train for here in the castle." 3 maids followed, each carrying hot water and clean towels. "Wash yourself thoroughly with soap 3 times. From now on, you'll wash 3 times a week." The biggest boy grumbled, "We'll catch the Black Plague washing this often." I started undressing. Anything was better than the constant hunger and cold nights, no more sleeping in the rain or snow. The first boy hesitated to strip. The second slowly began. I figured they were shy about undressing in front of the female maids, but I didn't care. My mind was on a proper meal soon. The man spoke again, "You'll work in the stables to keep the castle from smelling." Then he looked at me. "You're the messenger?" "Yes, sir," I replied. "You don't have a gutter accent. Where did you learn to speak so well?" "My father was a university professor before he died. He made sure I learned to read, write, and speak properly, sir." "Then we're luckier than I thought. You're well educated and obedient, a perfect choice. After you clean up and dress, have a maid bring you to me. To you," he said, turning to the others, "you'll go to the stables. Tell Master John you're here to muck out, and have his son come to me to take your place. And you," he said to the last boy, "finish washing, get dressed, then head to the kitchen to learn meal preparation and service." With that, he left us with the maids. The first maid snapped, "No need to waste this hot water on you. Come with me to fetch John's son." I was already washing, craving to be near the food. I kept telling myself I'd be fed one of these days. I just had to wait. The 2 other maids stayed nearby but kept their distance. We must have smelled terrible, no bath for 2 years. Everyone on the street feared baths caused the plague. My father had said it was nonsense, you got sick if you caught a chill afterward. Since it was always cold, I avoided baths whenever I could. After the 3rd wash, a maid handed me a silk garment, likely my uniform. It looked like a girl's dress, soft silk adorned with white lace. "Milady," I asked carefully, "are you sure this is for me? It seems too fine just for a messenger's uniform. You'll need this for the messages you'll be carrying. You'll visit the apartments of many noble ladies, and it would be an insult if the young ladies' messages were delivered by anyone who wasn't dressed properly," the maid explained. "Yes, milady. Thank you for teaching me the proper protocol," I replied, trying to recall everything my father had taught me about speaking with the nobility. I was certain some gentleman's wife, or even a duke's daughter, would have me carry her messages around the castle. If I stayed careful and kept out of trouble, this could mean steady food for a long time. But one slip-up could cost me dearly. Begging wasn't an option anymore. I was getting too old, even if I looked small for my age. "You seem very proper. What's your name?" the maid asked. "My baptized name is Liam, milady," I answered. "Well, Liam, the clothes fit you for now. We'll have the tailor adjust them soon. I expected someone your age to replace the old messenger, but you're much smaller." "What happened to the old messenger?" I asked, wondering if he had been executed. "She was sent to the countryside to serve as lady's maid to the Duke of Bentley's eldest daughter." "Thank you. I feared he might have been beheaded." You're too young to worry about that. Behave yourself, deliver messages quickly and correctly as your lady commands, and you'll do fine. How old are you? I'm 10 years old, milady. You're quite small for 10. Now, let's get you to Lord Lancaster. Where will I find him, milady? I'll take you so you don't get lost the first time, young sir. We wound through a maze of corridors and passages. It would take me a while to learn this place. I hoped I wouldn't get lost and lose my head before dinner. We found Lord Lancaster waiting while he finished speaking with someone else. Lords, dukes, and royalty lived in their own world, barely acknowledging anyone except to issue orders. It was some time before he noticed us. Are you the new messenger? Yes, your lordship. You look quite different now. Do you know your duties? Not entirely, your lordship. I only know I've been honored with the task of carrying messages for a young lady, I said, bowing my head. You'll do well or you'll lose your head. Understand? Yes, your lordship. Do you know whom you'll be serving? No, your lordship. The Princess Katie, he said. I was stunned. No one would expect a common orphan to serve a royal princess. On the street, it was rumored wealthy merchants paid handsomely for their daughters to serve the royal family. Your silence tells me you didn't know. That's good. You're wearing the clothes she specially made for you. You'll wear them at all times unless given other instructions. Learn where all the young royal ladies' apartments are. You have 1 hour to find them all. Tonight, I'll present you to the princess at court. Then everyone will recognize you running through the castle and know your messages come from her. No one will bother you. After that, you'll be fed. Do you understand you're to carry messages for the princess only? Yes, your lordship. After dinner, a maid will show you where you'll sleep. Be in the throne room in 1 hour, no later. With that, he turned and walked away on other castle business. I spent the next hour doing exactly as I was instructed. First, I searched for the throne room, then asked a guard about Princess Katie's apartments. I'm looking for Princess Katie's apartments, please, I said. Why are you looking for her apartments? He asked suspiciously. I was chosen today to be her messenger. I need to know where to go after dinner and also find the other ladies' apartments, I explained. Why would Princess Katie have a boy messenger instead of a girl like before? That's unusual. I don't know why, sir. I was simply told to learn where all the ladies' apartments are within the hour. I assume the princess wants messages delivered immediately when she sends them. So I'm finding the locations now, not when I deliver the messages, I answered. How do I know you're not here to poison or harm the princess? He challenged. Would I ask for directions and draw attention if that were true? Would I be dressed like this without prior knowledge of her apartments? Would I be sent to work in the kitchen to place poison? No. Either I'm the messenger I say I am, wearing clothes made for this task by Princess Katie herself, or I'm an excellent liar. Let's go to Lord Lancaster to confirm my identity so I can complete the task. The guard stood at attention during my long reply, though I was too angry and hungry to notice. Messenger, what's the trouble? A young girl asked behind me. I turned to see the same girl, about my size, wearing a beautiful purple dress. 3 older ladies in waiting followed her. I was told to find the ladies' apartments, milady, I said, bowing low as my father had taught me. These must be important women if the guard was at attention. Who sent you to find these apartments? Lord Lancaster, I replied. And which apartments were you seeking? Princess Katie's, milady. I expect to come and go there most often. Afterward, I must learn the locations of all the others in the castle. You don't know who currently resides here? That's not good for a messenger. Why weren't you informed if you're truly a messenger? She questioned. I was just taken off the streets today and given this position, milady, I said. I see. Lady Margot, could you send a page to assist our poor messenger? Someone who knows the names and locations of everyone here, she said, starting to walk away. Since he only has an hour, have them run together until the task is complete. Otherwise, they won't finish in time. Yes, Your Highness, Lady Margot replied as she passed me. Guard, can I trust you to find Gilbert, the page? Yes, milady. I know him and will fetch him right away. About 10 minutes later, Gilbert arrived, around 16 years old. He didn't look pleased to have to show what seemed like an 8-year-old around. It was even worse repeating names for me to pronounce correctly. After nearly an hour of running back and forth, I had to stop him. We covered most of the castle, but I reminded him I had to be in the throne room now. We sprinted there, and I arrived breathless. Our abrupt entrance caused a stir. I noticed the princess sitting behind what I assumed was the queen. When she saw us, she walked to the king and whispered in his ear. He smiled, waved away the person he was speaking with, who bowed and left, leaving the room quiet. Lord Lancaster, the king's booming voice filled the room. I understand you have a new messenger for my daughter. Yes, sire. Princess Katie chose him today from among the orphans begging in the city streets, Lord Lancaster replied. Please, Lord Lancaster, show us this eager messenger who couldn't stay away from the throne room during affairs of state but arrived here so breathless he can't speak. Lord Lancaster glared at me as if ready to strike me down but instead motioned me forward. Still gasping, I walked to him. We met in the middle of the room, where he grasped my shoulder, turned me, and we walked toward the throne together. We stopped several paces away. He bowed deeply, and I followed with the lowest bow I could manage. Rise, Lord Lancaster, and bring my daughter's new messenger here. We stood and approached the throne. Princess Katie came to us, acting as if we were in the stables. Father, he smells, and is all sweaty. Why is this, Lord Lancaster? Why does my daughter's new messenger smell like a common laborer? Has he not been bathed? Yes, sire, 3 times this hour. But I told him to find the locations of all the ladies' apartments within the last hour so he'd know where to deliver the princess's messages, Your Highness, Lord Lancaster explained. Lord Lancaster, you've set him an impossible task, the king remarked. Yes, Your Highness. I wanted him to learn as much as possible before I presented him to your daughter, Lord Lancaster replied. Father, a lady's messenger should not smell like a common page or worse. Could you not make him more like the lady's maid messenger he's meant to serve me? At least for when he's presented to me, perhaps at dinner tonight? Princess Katie requested. Princess Katie, I can do better than that. Tonight, your messenger will be a lady messenger. I trust you and your ladies will have fun transforming him before Lord Lancaster presents him to you. I see he's already wearing something you must have made for a fancy boy. So I'm sure you have other clothes ready for him, my dear, the king declared. I couldn't believe it, I'd just been sentenced to dress as a girl. That meant they'd clothe me as a serving girl. I barely knew how girls dressed. But defying the king's orders could cost me my head. Dressing as a girl or losing my head, it was a grim choice. I hadn't even been in the castle an hour and was already under the king's wrath. Lord Lancaster, I trust you'll provide the ladies-in-waiting to help dress our new young lady messenger for my daughter, the king demanded. As you wish, Your Highness. It will be done, Lord Lancaster said, bowing low. I bowed as well and followed Lord Lancaster out. Liam, wait, called Princess Katie. I turned to see her approaching. I bowed low as she spoke. The king has said that I and my ladies-in-waiting will help dress you for tonight. We'll begin right now. Follow us to my private dressing chambers so we can see how to make you look and smell like a proper lady messenger for the evening. It had been less than 2 hours since I'd arrived at the castle from the streets, and already I'd been dressed as a fancy boy, then as a lady messenger. And I still hadn't eaten. I followed the ladies obediently as they led me back to Princess Katie's apartments. When we reached her door, I stopped, remembering my father's lessons. It was improper for a male to enter a lady's quarters. Where are you, messenger? We're waiting, came a voice from inside. But milady, it is not proper for a boy to enter your rooms, I said. How will you deliver my messages if you never enter other ladies' rooms, you silly boy? Now come in and let my ladies-in-waiting see what they can do with you for tonight, Princess Katie commanded. I entered her room. It was larger than some houses I'd seen, decorated lavishly with gold, reds, and pink flowers. It was unmistakably a girl's room, everything meticulously arranged. I was truly impressed. Come here and take off your clothes, Lady Margot instructed. Yes, Lady Margot, I replied. I began undressing down to my codpiece, expecting a guard to burst in and punish me for being both in a lady's room and naked. I only wished they'd fed me before such a fate. Take that off too, Lady Margot said. We're women who care for male children all the time, Liam. Yes, Lady Margot, but my name is Liam, not Liana, I corrected. Not anymore, Princess Katie said. You can't have a boy's name while wearing a lady's dress. It would be strange. While you wear ladies' clothes, you'll answer to Lady Liana. Yes, Your Highness. There was nothing I could do. The princess clearly had it all planned. I was to be her full-size dress-up doll. A boy dressed up to be played with. Why, I didn't know. But now I was that doll, and that was all that mattered. I just wished they would feed me soon. First, let's put a corset on him to give him a shape like yours, Princess, one lady said. Then an abomroll and fardingales to make him look more like a lady from the skin out. That sounds delightful, Lady Annette, Princess Katie said. Let's make him look so perfect that no one will guess he was my boy messenger just an hour ago. His hair is too short, so let's get that red wig I wore at the last costume ball. We can have him wear a cap all the time, even while working as the messenger, Lady Margot suggested. That way, no one will know if he's a boy or a girl, or what color his hair really is, only that he has long hair when you switch him back and forth. Liana, from now on you'll wear this wig until your own hair grows as long as mine, no matter what you're wearing, Princess Katie declared. My hair was the same color as the princess's, but mine barely reached my shoulders, while hers flowed down her back. Let's dress him in one of your fancy gowns now and see how he looks. For dinner, we can use a plainer dress, Lady Annette said. Capital idea, the princess agreed. I'll get my blue dress. I don't care for it anymore, but it will look beautiful on him. It will hide the hair on his arms and conceal the fact he doesn't have small chests like I do. We can add padding to the dress to give the illusion of small chests, Lady Margot added. Maybe the tailor can sew something in, or make a simple vest for him to wear under any dress. Milady, do you expect me to be a mannequin for fitting your dresses? I'm sure there are many young ladies' maids with your exact figure who would consider that an honor, I said. The ladies giggled. No, Liana. We have other plans. These require a male messenger, not a female one. And they require you to keep silent. If you don't know anything, you can't reveal anything if someone tries to extract it from you by force. We want you to always tell the truth, except when it's to protect Princess Katie. That will be your main task. The princess has a plan, and you're a big part of it. Be patient until you're told your role. Can you do that for Princess Katie, Liam? At least I was still Liam, not Liana. Yes, milady. I understand I must follow your orders and play whatever role your highness assigns. That sealed my fate. Being the pawn of another 10-year-old girl was frightening. The older ladies-in-waiting knew the plan, so it must have their approval and not be too dangerous, at least for Princess Katie. For now, I would obey, or at least until I got some food. Lady Liana, raise your arms so we can put this dress on you, Lady Margot said. They'll kill me if I pretend to be a noble lady-in-waiting, milady, I protested. Then you better be such a convincing noble lady that no one questions your heritage, Lady Liana. Besides, the king has ordered this, Lady Annette replied, pulling a blue dress over my head. Fear crept in. There was no way I could pass as a noble, let alone a noble lady or a friend of Princess Katie. Yes, Lady Annette, I said. You need to sound more like a noble, Liana. You're young, so try to speak softer and a bit higher, more like Princess Katie. You both sound similar, but you're much louder. Listen to how she speaks and imitate her. After all, you're her messenger, you should sound like her voice, as well as deliver her messages, Lady Annette instructed. I'll help you act like Princess Katie so when you give her messages, people think it's her speaking. Yes, Lady Annette. I'll do my best, I said, trying to soften my voice. Very good, Lady Margot approved. Now, put on that red wig and the hair cap, both you and Princess Katie will wear matching ones tonight, Lady Annette said. It'll change your look but make you appear more like a girl. Then we'll see if it works. She placed the red wig on me. It fell past my shoulders almost to mid-back, shorter than the ladies who never cut their hair, but it made me look more like a girl. Now put the cap on him so none of the hair shows, and get a matching one for me, Princess Katie instructed. Now stand side by side with Princess Katie and face me, Lady Margot said. They look enough alike, it might work, Lady Annette observed. Yes, but Princess Katie, you shouldn't have done this, Lady Margot warned. It would have been better if no one knew Liam could become Liana. She's right, Princess Katie, Lady Annette added. We need to keep this quiet to make it work for you. I know, but I couldn't wait another day trapped in this castle like this. I just wanted to see him in a dress to imagine what he'd look like. I was careless and impatient, Princess Katie admitted. As long as you understand that, Princess, it won't happen again. Now we must proceed more cautiously, less daring. We need to protect both you and our new Lady Liana, Lady Annette concluded. I couldn't help but wonder what was really going on. It sounded like Princess Katie was a prisoner in her own castle, plotting an escape. I worried what role I was meant to play in this mysterious plan. They took the blue dress off me and replaced it with a much simpler white gown. Do we want him to look like Lady Liana tonight, or just a boy dressed as a girl? Lady Annette asked. I think we want him to look like a boy dressed as a girl, that's what everyone expects. Tomorrow, the real Lady Liana will arrive, and he'll dress for dinner every night. We'll teach him what he needs to know. Meanwhile, we can see if his fancy messenger clothes with the new hairnet pass muster before we try to switch him, Lady Denise explained. The ladies declared me ready for dinner. Tonight, I was to be Princess Katie's lady messenger, sitting beside Lady Margot unless the princess sent me on an errand. If so, Lady Annette would accompany me to ensure I reached the right person. With that, Princess Katie announced it was time for dinner. We entered the throne room, set up for the meal, and I was more than ready to eat. As I came in, laughter and pointed fingers followed me. But if it meant food, I was willing to endure it. The princess sat at the head table beside her mother, the queen. Nearby was a table for the queen's ladies-in-waiting, then one for the princess's ladies-in-waiting. Lady Margot waited while a chair was brought for me between her and Lady Annette. You will sit with us now, as a lady-in-waiting, Lady Margot whispered. I thought my luck couldn't be better. I could see the food coming, I was finally going to eat. Lady Margot leaned close. You have to eat like a lady from now on. Take small bites, chew slowly. Watch how the others eat and imitate them. I observed the ladies' manner. They took a bite every few minutes. Those seated near men watched to ensure their companions were well fed, with plenty of wine or beer. The ladies-in-waiting were little more than servants to the men beside them. I ate a bit faster and more, but I kept it slow enough to blend in. I was in heaven. Between bites, I watched Princess Katie closely. She spoke often with her mother, sometimes nodding toward me. Occasionally, the queen summoned a lady-in-waiting, who would then speak with others. I guessed she was the queen's personal messenger. I couldn't see the signal the queen used, but I knew one existed. I'd have to ask Princess Katie what signal she'd used to call me. It was clear the princess wanted to dress me up a lot. I looked at the noble ladies-in-waiting's gowns. Many were worth a king's ransom. The princess wore a solid red dress. Though only 10, I knew she'd be engaged soon. 14 was the typical age for princesses to marry for political alliances. After 20, a princess risked becoming an old maid, unwanted by princes. But royal marriages were about politics, not love or beauty. Kings chose matches to secure peace and power. Music played throughout dinner, jugglers, acrobats, and entertainers performed in the center of the room. Most diners ignored them. The food was the best I'd ever tasted, though after so long without eating, I probably would have thought anything delicious. There must have been 20 courses. Some were not even eaten by royalty, but I ate every bite. I knew I might feel sick later from overeating, but I didn't care. After so much hunger, this feast was bliss. Finally, the meal ended, and the court resumed its grandeur. I knew I'd soon be presented to the princess in this dress, as her messenger. I felt ashamed. But survival was everything now. My father always said to do whatever it took to get the job done. He was usually talking about chores, but I knew the lesson applied here too. If wearing dresses was what it took to eat, then I'd wear a dress. Lord Lancaster approached my table. The time had come. I stood, but Lady Margot grasped my arm and gently pushed me back. Ladies always wait for the gentleman to stand behind their chairs and pull them out. Then you take his arm and let him escort you where you need to go. As Lord Lancaster approached, the Queen's messenger intercepted him and whispered in his ear. My focus stayed fixed on Lord Lancaster. He came over and pulled out my chair, treating me like a lady. Then, to my surprise, he offered me his arm, just as Lady Margot had said he would. It felt as though I was being escorted to a grand ball. I rose, carefully adjusting my skirts. It was strange being treated like a lady rather than a beggar, someone more likely to be kicked out than escorted. I took his arm, and together we walked toward the king. We both bowed deeply. He then whispered, "You need to curtsy like a lady, Liam." I replaced my bow with the best curtsy I could manage, more like squatting on one leg. Beneath all the petticoats, no one would notice. Besides, I had no idea how to curtsy properly. I heard a few women giggle and men chuckle. Then we approached the princess. "Your Highness, I present to you a messenger capable of delivering your private messages and orders." "I've heard she can read letters and handle numbers," Lord Lancaster said cautiously. "I haven't tested these skills yet, but I intend to, as we don't know how much schooling this child has had. She has already shown remarkable dedication to any task you assign." "Thank you, Lord Lancaster. I'm grateful. I'll have a bed moved to my room so that," the princess began. The king's booming voice cut through the room. "You will not have a boy in your chambers, Katie. He will sleep in the barn like the other servants." "But father, you promised I could keep the messenger I chose," the princess pleaded. "Yes, Katie, but I expected you'd pick another lady's maid, not an orphan boy from the streets. This has gone too far. She's not a common boy. I named her Lady Liana. Calling someone a lady doesn't make them one, Katie. You create dukes, knights, and all kinds of titles. Why can't I make a lady?" Katie argued. "Because he's a boy, Katie," the king replied firmly. "Oh, she only looks like a boy now, father. In a few weeks, when her hair grows out, she'll look just like any other lady's maid." "Very well, Katie. I'll give you 6 months until the solstice ball. If Lady Liana can attend and no one suspects she's not a real lady, then you may keep her as your messenger. But if anyone discovers the truth, she returns to the stables, and I will choose your new messenger. Also, Lady Liana will not sleep in your rooms. Your ladies-in-waiting will be between you and her at all times, as is proper. You will have a bell with a cord to summon her, and she may never be alone in your rooms. Is that clear, Katie?" "Yes, father. If no one recognizes her as a boy at the solstice ball, I get to keep her as my messenger, and she can move into the room next to mine." "That's not what I said." "I know, father, but I think she'd be more comfortable in her own room beside mine instead of on the floor," Katie said. "Fine. If no one exposes her by then, he can have a room next to yours. But remember, he must never be alone with you. Understand?" "Oh yes, father. I'd never think of having her alone in my room to share secret messages. And you, young man, I'd have your head if I didn't know you only arrived today. I'll have you watched day and night. One misstep, and your head will fall after long and terrible torture. I bowed and curtsied as low as I could, my nose nearly touching the floor, trembling like a leaf in a storm. I was amazed I didn't topple over. Lord Lancaster helped me up, grasping my arm. I was grateful. It seemed Princess Katie now had a boy dress-up doll for constant company. With so many women eager to be ladies-in-waiting, why did she want a boy doll? I still couldn't understand. She approached our table. Thank you, Lord Lancaster. Lady Liana, fetch Lady Annette and get into your messenger pants immediately. I have many messages and people who need to know about you right away, so hurry. Yes, milady, I said. I found Lady Annette. Princess Katie wants me in messenger pants to send messages right now, I told her. She's playing a dangerous game. She is that girl, Lady Annette said. Let's get you dressed again, Liam. Back in the princess's dressing room, Lady Annette quickly changed me. Should we be using the princess's dressing room when she's not here? I asked. Yes. This is the only place you're allowed to change clothes, Lady Annette replied. I thought that was unusual. Soon I was back in my silk, lace-trimmed messenger suit. I felt better out of the dress, but only slightly. When we returned to the dining hall, I went straight to Princess Katie. I stood nearby but to the side, making sure she could see me without interrupting her conversation with an older lady. After a while, she beckoned me with a finger. There was no doubt she wanted me to come closer. Yes, milady, I said, bowing. This is Lady Matilda. She was once my language tutor. I've always held her in great affection. Now, Liam, I must introduce you to everyone. I thought she was Lady Liana, Lady Matilda remarked. Oh no, Lady Matilda, the princess replied with a smile. She's only Lady Liana when I dress her up. If you appreciated this story and wish to show your support, don't forget to join me on Patreon for exclusive content.